All right, in this lesson we're going to talk about what are called rigid transformations of geometric objects. And there's three kinds we're going to talk about. One is called a reflection, one is called a rotation, and the third one is called a translation. Now before I get into all the definitions and everything, let me just give you a general idea. What you see here in this image is an example of what we call a reflection. In a reflection, we take some kind of geometric object like this triangle A, B, C, and then what we do is we choose a line that we call the line of reflection. So let's say the y-axis here is the line of reflection, and what we do is we create a mirror image of the object over on the other side of the line of reflection. So you can see here that this point C is reflected over here by the point F. This point B is reflected over here by the point E, and this point A is reflected over here by the point D. Okay, and then all we do is we just connect the points that are being reflected with segments, and the result is a new triangle that is a reflection over the line of the first shape, in this case a triangle. Okay. Then the second kind is a rotation. A rotation is where we take a geometric shape and we we take something like a clock hand and it turns like 90 degrees, or it might turn 180 degrees, or it might turn 270 degrees. And what it does is we take all of the points and we turn them, let's say 90 degrees. That one turns 90 degrees, this one turns 90 degrees, and this one turns 90 degrees, and then we wind up with the same shape. This triangle is the same shape down here, but you'll see that it sort of changed the way that it's facing. Instead of sort of one end facing that way, that end is now sort of facing that way. So we changed it 90 degrees to be facing a different direction. Okay. And that's what we call a rotation. And then the third one is what we call a translation. That's where we take the object and it doesn't change its shape, it doesn't change the way that it's facing. We basically just pick the whole thing up and we move it somewhere else in the exact same orientation. So A is still the top left, B is still the top right, D is still the bottom left, and C is still the bottom right. Okay, and all we did was just move it over. It's like we picked it up here and moved it over to here. That's called a translation. Now when we call them rigid transformations, the word rigid means that they keep the same shape and they keep the same size. So this triangle is the same shape and the same size, it's just turned a different direction. This triangle is the same shape and the same size as this one, it's just turned a different direction. And this one is the same shape and the same size as this rectangle, it's just in a different location. Okay, so now let me give you a definition of, rigid transformation. Okay, rigid transformations are movements or replications. Now when I say replications, I mean like a copy, right? A copy of something is a replication of it. And that's what we have here. This triangle is a copy of this triangle. This triangle is a copy of this triangle, and this rectangle is a copy of this rectangle. Okay, so rigid transformations are movements or replications of a geometric object that change its position or orientation, but do not change its shape or size. So when we say position, we mean this triangle is here and now it's moved to a new position. It's now moved over here. Okay, so it changed its position. This rectangle moved from here over to here, changed its position. It also may change its orientation. So the B, this longer part of this triangle is sort of facing, up and to the left, but now over here, this one, it's sort of facing up and to the right, okay? So it changed its orientation. Orientation basically means like the direction it's pointing, okay? So this one is sort of pointing this way, but this one is sort of pointing this way, okay? And so the orientation has changed and the position has changed, but the size and the shape of the object are the same. And because the size and shape did not change, the two objects are congruent. And remember, congruent means having the same shape and the same measure or the same size. All right, so I'm going to give you a definition of reflection. A reflection is a transformation that flips a geometric object over a line called the line of reflection, creating a mirror image of the original. So over here we have a reflection. You can see if this is the original, this is the line of reflection, and this is the mirror image of this. So everything over here gets reflected, but sort of reversed. You know how in a mirror image, the image is sort of reversed? Well, this is the reversal of this image, and that's why it's a mirror image, okay? And that's called a reflection. Now let's do the definition of a rotation. This is a rotation right here. A rotation is a transformation that turns a geometric object around a fixed point called the center of rotation. Through a specified angle and direction. For example, we may say a 90 degrees clockwise rotation. And that's what this is right here in this example. This is a 90-degree clockwise. Here's the point of rotation right here, the origin. This is a 90-degree angle right here, and therefore this object is being rotated around the origin, the center of rotation, at a 90-degree angle in a clockwise direction. All right, now let's get a definition for translation. Translation is a transformation that moves every point of a geometric object. The same distance and in the same direction. The result shows no change in shape, size, or orientation. So when we do a translation, the object keeps the exact same appearance, it's in a new position on the graph. It still looks exactly the same as it did before, but it's just in a new place. And so that's it. That's our introduction to rigid transformations, the three kinds we're going to look at. And in the next couple of videos, we are going to look at how to identify mathematically the points of these different objects.